Well, hello, Dragon family. Happy Thursday. Whew, coming to you live just as a check-in. Not huge things to discuss today, but there's always an interesting topic with the dragons, right? And it's in such a big month energetically, you might be feeling like you're sort of in an in-between state, sort of like everything just feels sort of even keeled right now, kind of gentle, kind of soft, and that's a great space to be in. Obviously, depending on your individual charts, you might be feeling other stuff than that just because of your own personal journey and how it aligns with all the different energies, but really allowing yourself to just be aware, like, what's really going on? You know, a lot of times when we have these big energy periods, we went from July 7th, we had a big piece, and then 888, then the untethering with the Malfire Dragon, how that shifted things. And just a lot of times we don't stop and take inventory or really bring into consciousness and contemplate, you know, what's really shifted for me in the past month? What do I feel since 888? I felt all these big things. If you're a part of the meditation, we did the Starfire or Core Fire activation to get our Starfire really moving into our bodies, starting to get built up. I would encourage you, if you didn't see it, I put a link in this group. If you're on YouTube watching a playback, there's a note on that 888 meditation to email me to get a direct link, because if you're watching on YouTube, it's being interrupted by ads, and it's awful to be in the middle of a meditation space and then you're hearing some crazy ad for dog food or whatever. So it was brought to my attention. It's probably happened on all the other meditations, and because I don't go back and watch with the ads, I have the original file. It wasn't coming into my awareness. So this was a great piece of information for me, and I've even gone back and redone it myself. Quite often, if I'm awake in the middle of the night, I feel drawn to do a meditation because that's my closest time for work, with all the energies on on the bigger field. So I encourage you, go back, keep amplifying that, keep hitting that generator button to get that really activated through your field. That's going to bring about the big shifts in our bodies. That's going to be really what brings you forward. But where I started with this is, you may have been part of that, you may not have been, but we're feeling some connection with those energies. And what happens a lot of times is we go through that and then we get pulled into our distractions, our life, and things, and we just keep moving forward without ever taking stock or sitting to contemplate, have I really noticed things shift in my life? And that's one of the things that I like to do in my monthly group of all my ongoing program people, is bring up the shift in energy, ask them to share, like, what have you noticed in the last month? Because as someone shares, it usually triggers somebody else's memory of, like, oh my gosh, that happened for me too, or this was happening for me. And when we bring it into consciousness, it really helps us to go and see the actual progress we're making, and really recognize, like, wow, that was a big event for me, or man, I really saw this and noticed this shift. And then that leads to other things that we can be aware of and call forward. So just taking that moment, because if you've noticed, at least where I'm at this month or this week, is the energies are softer. They're it's like the down crescendo, like the wave has already hit the beach. We had this big massive wave come and crash on the beach and lanes it out, and then as it sort of draws back into the ocean, it's a little more gentle. It just slides back. That's where I feel like we're in. We're not sliding backward energetically, but we are softening into, like, all right, now I'm in the mid pool. Let this really just wash through me. So look at that. And what I want to do today is, one, have you sort of do that as a focal point for yourself. But two, I want to go in and draw a card from the deck and see, you know, for the group, what are the energies, what dragons are really present for us as a whole right now. Because I am really feeling, and part of it is weather-wise, we've had a super hot, I think we had 17 days over 100 degrees here in Reno, which is very unusual. I know we go through phases. Weather is a cycle. It's, you know, global warming has a lot of fallacies in the actual scientific evidence and where they're grasping information. But without diving into that, knowing that there's big cycles and small cycles, and we had a very hot, pronounced season this year, and the growing season was affected, production with fruits and vegetables, even though I had bees, really odd stuff going on in the garden that was happening for everybody I knew that was a gardener. Anyway, what I'm noticing now is we're into cooler weather, but it's that sensation, that knowing of like, wow, we're about to turn a corner. There's a shift happening. A lot of times our seasons are aligned with that. But let's see where it's going energetically, coming off this big piece and moving into where we're headed with the fall. And I know, like, one of the things I look at is, all right, what's the energy as we start moving towards, we're exactly just under 4 weeks out from the start of quantum flight for this new group. If you're not in that yet, I encourage, like, if you feel something tingle or feel something like, wow, I need to look into that every time I talk about it, do it now. Go email me or go into where you can see the post and get the application link and get that in, because you don't want to miss out on this if this is your time. If you are part of that sphere, you want to be allowing yourself to go into it. So what is the energy leading into that and the work that that group is going to be doing, both in their own journey of expansion, but there's always a piece for the collective. There's always a piece for Gaia that comes through with each group. And it's been a successive foundation building and then transition and opening new parameters and energetics. And it's been amazing to watch that process. So seeing what's our energetic read, that's what we want to do today. And just feel it and start tuning into, like, there is a shift coming. We're moving into this new phase for us in the Northern Hemisphere. We're moving towards fall. We're moving towards that, draw it out, start beginning our, not chrysalis, but moving into a quieter, more internal space, usually for the winter. And those in the Southern Hemisphere, that balance coming. But here we've always had this polarized field on Gaia, right? We've had a very distinctive Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere energies, the seasons and all. You might start noticing that as Gaia comes into balance and we come into balance, that you're not necessarily directly affected and aligned so much with those patterns, and that those patterns may, like, actually start showing us that they're mitigating and coming into that middle ground, coming into that more balanced place rather than the big extremes. So anyway, just things to be paying attention to. But let's dive in and feel. I still have the Womb Dragon and the Diamond Dragon from our 888 meditation. It's felt right to hold that energy there all along. And a lot of times I change it when there's specific dragons in my collection here that are all the card dragons on this walls. When they're really like, we really need to be present in the field. So knowing these two are holding the space of that transition, that core starfire, that still needs to be our focus. I do feel that really, really strongly, that the consistent intention and focus on activating your starfire, bringing that through, expanding it, is where we're at right now in the process to get our biological shifts started. We are moving from carbon to silica, remember, so we want to move towards that process. All right, so I've been shuffling the deck here as I'm speaking, and I'm just going to allow, how I do my deck readings is I allow the energy to show me where it wants to split open rather than waiting for cards to fall out. I just let the energy show me where on the deck it is, if it's leaning this end or this end, and feeling it right. Here, ooh, there's two spots. So that's interesting because I felt it over here and then the other side also opened. So I love this. All right. So we have two cards today, two energies. I'm going to just hold those up as a replacement for the Womb Dragon and the Diamond. And gosh, I feel like I need to switch these sides with these. So let's hold the Diamond Dragon is a specific high level frequency, like in that lineage with the Crystal Dragon, so water lineage. And I feel like this is where Metatron's cube, and here I gotta bring them forward to get them the right size, right? Yeah, let's just replace those. So Metatron's cube and the Lapis Dragon, and see how those are relating for us energetically. So let's just look at Metatron's cube to start. And Metatron's cube is a mirror into self, attunement, and heart song. That really fits with what we were just talking about, of taking the time to contemplate for you. What are the shifts for you? What's happening for you? And I think that's why these haven't changed. Even in my groups, I've noticed that a lot of times there is historically, there has been, every time I'm working with a group, there's a group sphere. There's a group specific energetic, specific dragon energy that shows up, that's showing us something. It's a thematic, it's an energy that everybody's working with right then. What started happening recently is there's like a backdrop of group energy where I can perceive everyone, but there's a very individual thread within each of that. And this is because we're each coming into the truth of our own alignment, our own heart song within the group. And so even as I've explained, like as we get more merged with our full self, with our solar body, light body is the term I used to use for that. I've been corrected. As we come into that merge with our full dragon, I become more human. It's like having the whole aspect allows me to also have the individuality to a more pronounced degree. I'm aware of my heart song, I'm aware of my heart desires. I'm really keyed in on what am I here to do, to be, to experience, to live, to share in this body. And so feeling that dynamic of what are you contemplating? Are you allowing yourself to look at your own journey very specifically? Maybe that's why the group energy is sticking with, here's the group thing we're holding, but your individual thread within that. This is Metatron's cube. What is your heart song? Your attunement, your mirror into self, taking the time to contemplate. So it's interesting that those are the thematics of a geometric configuration. Why is that associated with Metatron's cube? Metatron's cube holds all of the platonic solids within it. It holds every geometry within it except the flower of life. The flower of life holds Metatron's cube and thus all the others within it. The flower of life is the feminine principle. This is the masculine. So in that, how does that allow each to be present? This is why your heart song, your attunement, your mirror into self are associated with Metatron's cube, because Metatron's cube has all of our individual geometries within it. So the fact that that is also part of Gaia's larger geometric field in the scaffolding of the new earth, and why the crystal dragon is Metatron, that association has always been present. What is the crystalline core? It's our gateway into ourself. It holds all of that structure within it, all of those geometric components that holds every possibility. And we are one of those possibilities, but each of our songs, each of our geometric configurations are in there somewhere. And the overlay allows everybody's to be in there, but it's about attunement into your piece within that, but also within the whole. So we're starting to get this idea of the unity consciousness and the individual, my full light body consciousness and more me. It's those dual ends of the thread coming in, which is a state of unity consciousness. So I love that that is actually a greater, bigger way to look at why this card, why is Metatron's cube associated with those specifics. So that I do feel is also still aligned with Crystal Dragon, which is why it's aligned with the Diamond Dragon. So let's look at the Lapis Dragon. Inner expansion, surrender, and self-awareness. Okay, if there are two cards in the deck that are perfectly matched on attunement to self, mirror into self, oh, self-awareness. But this is coming from that deep earth connection. So we've got Metatron's cube, which is the big, okay, sacred geometric. That's your fifth dimensional counterpart. Everything that we see in 3D and matter has a fifth dimensional energetic geometric, sacred geometric counterpart. That's what is behind the form. That's what's there initially before everything comes into elemental matter. So we've got the 5D side and we've got the 3D side at the very edge of 3D. It's like these are bridged to each other. You couldn't get more proximal on either side of the veil than that around the deep earth, right next to the crystalline core. That's the edge of 3D. And this coming into the edge of 5D. Like, wow, this is amazing. What does that tell me? What does this read? We're there. We're at that gateway of really coming into unity consciousness. It enfolds both of those. The enfoldment of this piece and this piece, we're right there. We're coming into it. So this is the energy when I ask the question, like, where are we at as a group energetically? What's happening in this season right now as we move from the end of August? Can you guys believe it's the end of August? How did that happen? I joke a lot that last week was still 2020 for me. Like, where has all this gone? I know we're operating differently with time, but here we are shifting into a different dynamic, moving towards that. And what's been happening most of August, since even before the 888, Mercury retrograde went direct again on the 27th. So now that we're here at, what are we, the 29th today? moving forward into like pulling away from that retrograde, everything's starting to align. Anybody been having tech problems? Super common with our Mercury retrograde, right? I will tell you how I have had so many conversations this week of stuff going on with people's phones. My phone, I had to do a full reset. The app store disappeared on my phone. You can't delete it. You can hide it, but it's always still in your phone somewhere. It literally does. Sorry about that. There we go. Talking about phone issues. I get interrupted with a robocall right in the middle of that. That's very funny. So even the tech support gal through Apple, she's like, I got to put you to a supervisor because I've never seen this before. So isn't that amazing what we can create with our powerful energetics when Mercury is retrograde? Well, now we're moving out of that. We're clear forward into the end of November. So what's coming forward is shifts for us. We're moving into a phase of self-awareness, self-attunement, coming into your own heart song, coming into that full unity state. Let the energies here focused on what we're gifted at the 888 of that core starfire generator, moving into all that blue starfire, really beginning to amp up in and through you. Use the meditation for that as many times as you want to go back and replay it. As I said, I will send a link out I posted it in this group associated with that, or I think it was yesterday, so it's its own post, but it's in the top of the feed. Dropbox link to download it and have that meditation on whatever device you want. Get the timestamp of where the meditation actually starts. Listen to it once, keep fast forwarding until you hit the meditation, and know, like at about, I think it's like 13 minutes in or something like that, go straight to the meditation. You don't need to listen to the talking part again. Sometimes it might be interesting, but use that. Keep building that starfire, and over the next couple of months as we move into this, what can you build for your own unity state? Where are you heading into that merge? And I'm super excited to do that with a new group. As I said, the new Quantum Flight group building. That surprised me that we've got one. Didn't know the Dragons were going to have one this year, and I'm really excited to see why it's coming together. But always get excited as that sphere starts really gelling and building towards its initiation point, like the kickoff on September 17th is a fun time for me. So if this is begging questions for you, maybe you're like, I don't even know half of what you're talking about. Those terms are new for me, or you're just not sure. You're like, I know there's something the Dragons have for me. I need to know what direction to go with the work. Go to my booking calendar. Book now button on the homepage, dragonwithin.com. Takes you to the calendar. You'll see the free 20-minute discovery calls. And a lot of times I can be booked 3 weeks out. Maybe there's stuff going on and you don't see any slots. Just keep looking, because it doesn't book more than 3 weeks out. I am not tied up for the next 2 years, I promise. But I love those free discovery calls because they're a great way to connect and get you headed the direction you need to be. They generate great conversations. I meet soul family that way. It's been an amazing process. So I always encourage and enjoy those. You can only do one. You can't go back and do another one, but they're very useful. So looking forward to all the shifts you guys are going to go through. Please share in your journey. Like if I had that contemplation question out to you today and you've realized something that's really shifted, or that you're noticing you're in transition of, man, post it on the comments here or share it into the group as an individual post, because that kind of feedback, that kind of input from those of you, particularly that have been in this group for a while, it really helps the newcomers see what this group is about and see, wow, that there is a journey with the Dragons. Just keep getting these robocalls. There's more to it, and that they can track into that the whole reason they might have been drawn to join was seeing something, and now they're like, wait, this is actually about working with the Dragons. This group is really like about, like, they're real, they're tangible, they're energetically present with me, and they're going to move me forward rapidly. That's a huge awareness for a lot of the newbies coming into this group. So any of you veterans out there, or gosh, if you're a newbie and you have something to share, please dive in. There's always, my goal with this group is to have experiential exchange so that it becomes more than something that you're not trusting in yourself, or that you think is your imagination making stuff up. Because when you start seeing everybody else that's having similar experiences, it helps you build that confirmation and that confidence and that trust in your own intuitive knowing, your own experience, and go, wow, okay, there's other people that had the same thing. I'm not crazy. This group is so that you know you're not crazy. So anyway, big blessings to everybody. We will see you sometime next week. For those in the US, this is the holiday weekend. Have a wonderful time if you're out doing something fun. I'm hoping to do a little rock hounding myself. Go and find some things that the earth wants to gift and present to me. So I'm open to that. Anyway, I will see you next time. Bye for now.